Let's talk about the how skills now. So how should we be doing the what skills? The what skills are the different exercises that we can do to try to pay more attention to the present moment. The how skills are kind of the quality of attention that we want to be bringing to our present moment experience. So in the same way that any kind of different exercise that we're doing for, building different muscles in our bodies. So whether we are deadlifting and we are trying to have a straight back when we're deadlifting, or running or swimming or whatever the different physical activity exercise is, there's a certain form that we want to be like engaging in those exercises with in order to build the muscles in the most effective way. And so similarly, when we are practicing our what skills, we're wanting to add the form to it. And so there are 3 how skills that are reflective of the kind of form or quality of attention that we are wanting to use as we're paying attention to the present moment. And the first one is called non-judgmentally. So this really gets to that non-judgment piece of mindfulness. And I mean, for me, this is the hardest because, our mind is a natural judge. We like to label things as good or bad, or like or dislike. And that is a normal part of how our brains operate in terms of efficiency and storing a lot of information. But when we are trying to approach our experiences from this open, non-judgmental quality of relating and attending to, the first step is to let go of the judgment. And so instead of judging whatever it is that you are observing or describing or participating in, we want to just notice. We want to observe without judgment. We want to describe without judgment. We want to be curious about our experience versus judgmental of it. The second how skill is one mindfully. And so this really gets to the heart of being present and engaging in whatever the present moment experience is, or whatever it is we're observing or describing. We want to be focused solely on that. And so this means, not doing a lot of tasks at once. So, a lot of us are doing a lot of our work now via Zoom or some other virtual platform. And I imagine there's a tendency to also be doing other work on the side. Maybe we're in a meeting and we're checking our email or doing, other work not related to whatever it is that we are also attending to in the present moment or needing to be focusing our attention on. One mindfully asks us to focus on one thing at a time. This also means that we're not multitasking with our mind, so to speak. So, when we are hanging out with our family, whether that's your kids or your partner or your parents or whoever, we want to also not be multitasking with our minds and thinking about like our to-do list for the next day or whatever it is that our mind is trying to do that's not oriented on whatever you're attending to in the present moment. And the last how skill is effectively. And so effectively really gets at the core of we want to be doing what works. And so what works is going to be dependent on what the goal is, right? So when we're trying to figure out how to be effective, the first step is figuring out, okay, what's my goal? So for example, for me, I have internship applications coming up. And so just, if I was to observe or describe my resistance to working on the different essays that I need to do and the cover letters and et cetera, and observing, what does that resistance feel like in my body? What kind of thoughts am I having? That's not going to actually help with my goal of getting the internship applications completed. What would be more effective would be to use the what skill participate in the writing process, to throw myself in and to engage in that completely. So when we're thinking of effectively, the first step is to ask, what is my goal? So if your goal is to connect with whoever it is you're spending time with, then maybe participate is also, the most effective skill. If the goal is to kind of get some separation or down regulate some intense emotions, maybe observing how you are experiencing that emotion in your body is the more effective mindfulness skill to use. So start with, what is my goal? And from the goal, you'll be able to figure out what mindfulness skill is going to be the most effective in that moment. So those are the how skills. We want to be non-judgmental, one mindful, or single, like having the single focus of our attention and not multitasking, and doing what is effective for each moment, whether that is describing, observing, or participating. So that wraps up our mindfulness skills. We now have covered the what and the how skills. And so now you can go and build those mindfulness muscles using your non-judgmental, effective, one mindful form.